My name's Paul Davis. I'm the head teacher here at Fred Longworth High School, and I'd like to start by welcoming you to our virtual Year 6 Parents' Evening, welcoming you and your child to Freddy's. And I'll start by saying we look forward to welcoming the students in person to the school starting in September, and I'm sure you're all very excited to be joining the school at this time. I know what a significant time this is, particularly if it's your first child coming to secondary school, and what a daunting prospect that was. As a parent myself, my daughter's just finishing year 7, so I went through this process last year, and I completely understand how you must be feeling at this time. But rest assured, we will do our best to make sure the transition is smooth and as enjoyable and as successful for the students as we possibly can do. Obviously, for COVID reasons, we're not able to do this evening in person, hence the recording of the session. But hopefully you will find it informative. Both myself and Mr. Worley will talk through a few key things to be mindful of as you start in school, and bits of information to share with you during the course of this video, which hopefully you can find useful. And also, of course, you've got the option of rewinding this, pausing it if there's anything you need clarity on. We'll be sharing some slides with you during the course of this as well. So hopefully you'll get the information that you need. And as I say, we look forward to welcoming the students to the school in September. I'm going to switch over onto some slides now to just talk you through some of the key things that you need to be thinking about as parents as your child approaches this first milestone in coming to high school. So there's obviously a big difference in coming to a large secondary school compared to, the daily life in a primary school. And Freddy's is a big secondary school. There's no doubt about that. We've got over 1,300 students in the school. But I'd like to reassure you by the fact that, at our school in particular, we pride ourselves on our Freddy's family, and it creates a unique and really nice atmosphere around school, which hopefully will help your students to climatise and settle in well and become part of our community. And part of the transition process is making sure that transition into the Fred Longworth family is as smooth and as pleasant as it can be. And there's a lot of things that we do, and there's a lot of things that you can expect as parents that will ease your transition as they come into school. So that family atmosphere is absolutely critical to that. And although we are a big school, it never feels like that. It feels much smaller, much more welcoming, and a very close-knit school that we are, with very good relationships between students, between staff and students as well, which create that atmosphere. And it's a safe, welcoming environment as well. We obviously have excellent facilities around the site, with our brand new building opening as well, or just opened, and obviously the prospects of the new school coming online, all exciting times for the school. But the facilities in the school are excellent, and that means that your children, they're coming in and they will find something that engages them, whether it be in music, PE, etc. The facilities are there for them to enjoy the learning and become really part of the school. We obviously are supported by a committed, professional and very talented staff who have the very best interests of every child in the school at heart, and they work very, very hard with the children. And obviously our expectations for our students are high, and we have high standards of achievement, and we want your children, when they come to us, to work hard and to do well. The whole school is underpinned by our very strong pastoral support system. Mr. Worley will talk you through this in a little bit more detail, but each year group has a head of year who remains attached with those students for the 5-year journey in school. And that ensures that they get to know the children incredibly well, and that there's good communication between school and home, which is so critical at secondary school. We hope that your students feel valued and listened when they come to school. We have a student council, which is very, very active, and the students play a real significant part in shaping the school and meeting with the students regularly and so forth. They influence decisions that we make around school. Like all schools, we reward good work and behaviour, and we have numerous prizes and awards for the students that we give out periodically, which recognises their efforts. And as I've mentioned already, the extra activities in school are excellent. And as COVID starts to lift into the new term, we hope that your children will be able to partake in as much of that as is possible, and they enjoy their time here at Freddy's. Critical thing in the transition, of course, is the support from yourselves as parents. Your support and guidance is crucial. And there are a number of things that you can be doing with your child to really help them as they settle in to school. And the key thing is establishing really strong routines for them. And your role as parents is critical in that. So making sure that the children have done the homework and are organised for each day at school, making sure that the bags are packed correctly with the correct books, their equipment, the PE kit and so forth. Ensuring that they wake up on time, get to school on time, and of course having strong attendance. And when Mr. Worley speaks to you shortly, Mr. Worley will talk to you about attendance. But these basic routines are things that as parents, you can instill into your children and help them make that transition to school. We provide numerous opportunities for you to communicate with school, and on the screen are a number of events that allow you to come into school and meet with staff to talk about your child's progress. So the progress review evening in October is when you will meet your child's form tutor, and they'll be able to talk to you about how they've settled in those first few weeks. Here at Freddie's, the parents' evening in April, and then we finish the academic year with what we call student-led conferences, where your children will present their learning journey across the academic year, and it's a real celebration of their work and their achievements in that year. And also we offer various workshops and curriculum evenings, and although we've not scheduled those in yet, we will communicate those with you in due course next term. Obviously COVID restrictions we all hope will be lifted by then, and we'll be able to invite you in school. But as it stands at the moment, we'll obviously have to keep an eye on that and look at how we manage these events. For example, parents' evenings we've managed virtually with pieces of software that we've had, and if we have to continue that, then we will do. But we do hope that actually we're able to bring people into the building in person. So please, talk to us, communicate with us. It's so important and critical for your child. To help with that as well, we also use a piece of software called Satchel One. You can download the app onto your phone, and Satchel One allows you to track your various aspects of your child's progress in the day. So for example, teachers record homework on Satchel One, the message goes to yourselves as parents, and you can see what homeworks has been set. You can also monitor their attendance, the behaviour and the rewards that they're receiving in school through that app. We're not able to sign you into that just yet because your children need to come onto roll in September, but once they're here in school, we'll be sending out the details of how you can access Satchel One, and we hope that you're able to use it effectively and stay engaged yourselves with your child's learning. It's important. Okay. Obviously, as a result of the COVID situation at the minute, we've got no SATs test from Key Stage 2 from the primaries. So when your child comes into school in September, very early on, we'll be carrying out some baseline testing. We use what are known as CATS tests, cognitive ability tests, and we also test the children's reading age, which gives us a good idea of their academic potential. And we will publish those results to you as soon as possible, so you can get an indication as well of where your child sits in relation to those tests. So that's an important part of the process when you come into school. We are hoping as of September that we will be able to close the bubble system or not use the bubble system. Currently students are being taught in forms because of COVID, but we're hoping that from September we're able to go back to our mixed model of teaching groups, which involves some teaching of lessons in forms, some setting, some mixed ability groups and so forth, which are very carefully put together using the information that we have on the children, and obviously that matches ability and so forth. So that's what we're hoping to do in September if the restrictions lift and we're able to do so. And when we do set, I think it's important to stress as well that we keep all the sets anonymous, so that we avoid any stigma that's attached to that in the process. So just be mindful of that. Okay. So there's a little input from myself as head teacher, just a few things to think about. I'll introduce you now to and hand over to Mr. Worley, who will be taking you through the next stage of this presentation. But I'll just finish by saying, from my point of view, I look forward to welcoming all your children at what is a very exciting time for them as they come here to high school. Thank you very much.
Hello everybody, and it's nice to be able to speak to you about transition up to high school. I'm Mr. Worley, I'm Deputy Head of Fred Longworth High School, and I've been liaising with yourself regarding transition, putting all the students into forms, etc. I hope you find this presentation useful, but as this is a recorded presentation, if there's anything that you need information on following this, please could you email me on the email address that's shown on the presentation. Thank you. So far this year, so the students have been put into forms. We've been meeting the children in their primary schools, and it's been great to see your sons and daughters. Really feel that we've got a fantastic year group of students coming up this year. And a lot of students have been visiting Freddy's as well, either with the parents in small groups for those who are coming from a school on their own, and also many schools have visited Freddy's over the last couple of weeks, and it's been great again seeing the students, and that they have found these meetings useful. There are Meet the Form Tutor meetings on Microsoft Teams planned next week. We begin the 5th of July, so if you look out for the invite please on Teams and get onto those meetings. And we've also had some extra individual meetings with some students. Okay, if I could just mention about the summer school, because many parents have been contacting about summer school. Summer school demand for places has been extremely positive, and we will send out information in the next 2 weeks regarding whether your son or daughter has got a place. Okay, but it is pretty much full at the moment, so not everybody will get a place, unfortunately, but we will inform you whether your son or daughter has got a place. Okay, thank you for that. Your head of year is Mrs. Hislock. She's very much looking forward to meeting you and the children when they start in September, and she will be taking on her first year group from year 7 because she started here when year 11 were in the year 9, and she's been involved in a lot of the meetings with myself over the last few weeks, getting to know the children as well. She does have a big team of people to support the year team, particularly in the morning during form time. So we've got Mr. Rigby, Mr. Norman, Mrs. McPhail and Mr. Bailey, who are deputy heads of year. Mrs. Bailey, who's our safeguarding officer, is also attached to the year group, which we think is important to get to know the year 7s. Other important people are obviously the form tutors, critical really to your son or daughters in terms of like developing that relationship. So you can see there the form tutors. We have form tutors in the north and form tutors in the south. The north and south doesn't mean anything in terms of the students' ability. It's just a way of banding the students so that we can have a timetable with half the year group on one subject and half the year group on another. So it doesn't mean anything being in the north or the south. Okay, thank you. Other key staff for your children to be aware of, and yourself as well, is Mrs. Gannon, who's our inclusion manager. She works very closely with Mrs. Waring, who's our Senko, and Miss Ray, our attendance officer. So if you have any concerns around attendance, or if you need to contact Miss Ray regarding your son or daughter not being able to come to school, okay, please contact Miss Ray. And if you look on our website, all the numbers of all the key staff are there, please, okay, for you to find if you need to ring. Thank you. Pushing on now just to look at attendance, this is really probably one of the most important things that we need to consider as we move forward to high school. Okay, because if students got a test, for example, in maths or English or another subject and got 90%, then you'd say that they've done extremely well. Okay, which is obviously 90% on any test would be very good, wouldn't it? But 90% in terms of attendance, isn't good. And that's what some students and parents do struggle with, because they think 90% is a good level of attendance. Okay, we're aiming for 97% attendance for all students. Okay, if they can get 100%, then obviously that's amazing, that's great. But 97% attendance, even that level equates to 6 days absence in a year, which is 2 per term on average. So we believe that is a standard that all students can generally attain. Now, obviously, there will be genuine times when students aren't able to come into school because of illness, and if they are really genuinely ill, obviously the time that time at home is important to recover. But we do need students in school, so if they're struggling, please send them in. They can always be assessed by our first aiders and be sent home at a later point. But we do want students in school, and basically, if students don't achieve that level of attendance, certainly, towards 97%, they are really going to struggle. So we need everybody to try and aim for 97% attendance, please. Okay, and it's the #1 issue really that schools nationally are pushing in terms of parents. Okay, so please don't take your children out of school for holidays. We appreciate that the issues. I'm a parent myself, and I can understand why that might be seen as a good thing to do in terms of a holiday in term time, but the students will suffer, and we will be going down any sort of education attendance penalty notices for parents who don't comply with this and take the students out of school during term time for holidays. Okay, so we need your support with this, please, okay, as we move forward. All right, thank you very much. In terms of uniform and PE kit, all our suppliers are on our website with their links to their websites. So we have in Tilsley, Wendy's, in Astley we have Icon Embroidery, then in Lee we have JMax and Hillary's, or Rosenfields as it's also known as. These are really reputable suppliers. So if you go in, you may need to book an appointment to get fully kitted out, or maybe just give them a ring beforehand. But you can turn up at their shops and just sort out the uniform and kit. We do have a new tie for all students this year, which is a Velcro fastening tie, and you'll be aware probably by now for girls that we are introducing a Freddy's dress. So if girls want to wear a skirt, it is the Freddy's dress style skirt, pinafore style, which we've introduced this year, and we've had a lot of positive feedback around this style of dress. Appreciate it's not everybody's cup of tea and everybody's style, so obviously they do have the option of wearing the trousers, okay, but we need the uniform and PE kit to be sorted for September, okay, and we do have high standards on uniform and PE kit, and again we need your support with this, please. Okay, thank you very much. I mentioned about attendance, okay, also obviously uniform, equipment, etc. When the form tutor meets with you next week, they will go through the equipment list, okay. And again, just a general point, I think it's important to make this point. You know, we want to work with parents, with your children in terms of the standards we set. Many of our staff are parents themselves. They understand, and we understand about the challenges that parenting brings. But we've got the same goals as yourself. You know, we want your children to do extremely well, but we can't make apologies for the high standards that we have. And that's what makes Freddie, one of the things that makes Freddie such a great school is the standards that we have. And we're trying to foster high standards and an encouragement of learning and insistent that students do homework. You know, so we need the support of parents. So if you don't like a particular policy or don't believe in a particular policy, okay, by all means, you know, make us aware of that. But we're not going to change our policies because a parent doesn't like a particular policy. For example, on mobile phones, which I'll come to later. We do have clear policies and we need the support of parents. If you're unhappy with something, please get in touch, okay, but it's important that we work together for the good of your children, and by us working together that will show everybody, you know, obviously what we're about, and it will also help the students to do extremely well. Okay, thank you. There will be small issues, I imagine, for a lot of children when they start in September, and you can see there the sort of traditional ones where students maybe worry, you know, things like forgetting dinner money, etc. There are people in school to support the children, starting with the form tutor, then Mrs. Hislop, staff in the inclusion centre, and myself. We will support the children absolutely 100% when they start with us in September, and before that as well, of course. And there will be, you know, there will be worries. There is a transition, and for some children it's very easy to move up to high school. For some, they just have a few little issues and they need a little bit of support, and some students need a lot more support. It's our job to support your children and work with yourselves to ensure that they're settled in. But it's important if we can just help the children beforehand, just get ready for it, get prepared, think about the timetable, think about how high school is different, and that's been the focus of our visits, getting them to think about how high school is different to their primary schools and get them mentally ready for, you know, the challenges of high school. Okay, but we want them to settle in well, and I'm sure they will do, and we've got a history of students settling into Freddy's extremely well over the years. School life is obviously really enjoyable for a lot of students, and it's important that we, you know, keep that as a focus, that we're trying to get the students to enjoy school. It's not just about the lessons. There's so many activities and clubs on offer for the children at Freddy's, and we'd like the children to get involved in activities and clubs and the trips that are on offer. So if you could encourage your children, please, to get involved in clubs and activities when they start, that will really help them settle in, make new friends and become part of the Freddy's family and the wider life of school. So that's, again, it's a challenge for our year 7s. Can they join a new activity? Can they get involved in at least one activity when they start in September? Okay, for school meals, we do have a cashless catering system through WisePay. Our catering suppliers are Taylor Shaw, and they provide really good meals for the children. If you look on the website, you can see the menus. So it's important to get used to the WisePay system, paying money onto the system, so the children have money in their accounts. When they go then, using the fingerprint method, it can then be taken off the system. Of course, many students prefer to bring packed lunches, particularly if they're doing activities, and we encourage that. Okay, so obviously it's a choice, just to be mindful of how the school meals are paid for. Mention about the new Freddy's dress, which I realise has divided opinion among some parents, and I fully understand that, but we do believe it's the right way forward for our school. And we do believe also that in a few years' time, when all the students are wearing the dress, all the girls in school are wearing the dress, or more girls are wearing the dress, and some will still be in trousers, of course, we do believe that these anxieties and worries will settle down. Okay, so we just need your support, please, with this new uniform policy. If students want to cycle to school, then they need to have a helmet and they need to have a roadworthy bike. We do have issues with students cycling to school with bikes, for example, with no brakes, and they try to cycle without a helmet, but we do insist on them wearing a helmet for their safety. So again, it's about working with school, please, and supporting us with that. But if students don't want to wear a helmet for cycling to school, we don't allow them onto the premises with their bike. So again, it's about supporting and working together, please, because it's about the safety of the children there with cycling. The mobile phone issue can be a problem in schools. Nationally, mobile phones are a problem in this country. There are lots of issues with mobile phones, which mobile phones cause, and for students and for staff. So we have a really clear policy in school that mobile phones should not be seen or heard on the school site. So as soon as they come through the gate, please, mobile phones need to be switched off and out of sight, otherwise they will be confiscated. And again, this causes some anxiety for parents who may not agree with the policy, but it is the policy of the school, and it's important that we please work together on this. Okay, but we don't want phones to be seen or heard on the school site. Okay, thank you. So lastly, the first day for all the students is on the first day in September, as in the 7th of September. All students in, just year 7 for that day. The day after, all of the students are in. They need to come to the front of school by 8:30. It's a lovely day this, when all the year 7s are in school, know the year groups, and we will modify and change this day to give it more of a transition focus, as we've not been able to have the traditional move-up days. But it is a day to look forward to. I'm sure the students will look great in their new uniform. It'll be a nice day for you as parents, seeing your children in the first day at Freddy's. And then the second day, as I've said, is the Wednesday the 8th of September, where all students are in school. Okay, so in the meantime, I do wish you a lovely summer. If there's any problems, please don't hesitate to get in touch with myself or Mrs. Hislop. Okay, and I hope you found this presentation useful and not too lengthy. But if you need, as I said, if you have any questions moving forward, please don't hesitate to get in touch with me over the next few months. Okay, thank you. Take care. Bye.